welcome to the Gecaj and Giggens Power Show. I'm Gecaj.
I'm Giggens.
This is it, folks, the biggest show of our careers. We're excited. 3 p.m., Karl Koch will be interviewed on the Gecaj and Giggens Power Show live.
Webmaster, best buddy of Weezer since they started, since day one, and we're gonna have him on the show, calling in at 3 p.m. for all your questions, all your favorite Weezer and Karlophone related questions.
Homie, you can answer anything. Space
twins, whatever you want.
Special goodness, we can't talk about Southern Fried Swing.
Yeah, the Rentals.
Who?
The Relationship.
Yay!
Any of those bands, you got questions, we will try to ask Karl those questions. And this is the Power Show. We have a great show lined up, so...
Great show. We're playing lots of Weezer tracks today and lots of other songs, too. Including a new one from Tegan and Sarah.
90 a.m., that was the Pixies with the Baser. And guess who we have on the phone? Hey, Karl.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, man.
Karl Koch, everyone. Yay!
What? Sorry, that sounded bizarre.
We pronounced your last... We pronounced... Are you sick?
I was. And now you have that situation where you're kind of like, oh yeah, I feel fine, but yet you're coughing up strange things all day.
As long as it's not swine flu, dude.
It's all good.
The dreaded swine. All right, man. Well, it's good to have you on the phone, because we hung out with you the other day. It was good to see you. We have questions.
Sure, man.
Gecaj, go.
No, you could ask. You know, you're already in the mood. Ask him.
All right, well, the first question I have is, we recently saw the Snuggie commercial for the Weezer Snuggie. And is that going to be on TV?
I'm not sure. I don't know what... It kind of depends on whatever their budget is for advertising, because, as you know, it costs a lot of money to put ads on TV.
Right.
I always thought it was kind of a YouTube exclusive, is what I was told. So I don't know if it's going to be on TV. It would be pretty funny if it was. But I haven't heard anything about that at this point.
Were you there for the shoot?
Yeah, if you're on YouTube and you see that, you'll probably also see the ones making of the Snuggie commercial. I put that together out of footage I shot that day.
Oh, cool.
Ah, you should have been in the Snuggie commercial itself, though.
Yeah.
What about the Snuggie commercial itself?
You should have been in it. Hello?
What?
You should have been in the commercial, Karl.
Oh. Thanks, but yeah. Well, you know, they had very specific trying to recreate. They actually were referencing like the original Snuggie commercial.
Yeah.
Find stuff to use that the guys could go into. So, thanks, but I don't really know what I could have been doing. I mean, pretty much there was only a handful of shots they could get anyway. So it's like, you know, as it was, they had to think about, all right, what can Scott do? What can Brian do? You know. So it would have been fun to be in it, but I don't know what the hell I would have been doing.
Well, it looks like Brian can give amazing foot rubs, from what we can see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you watch the making of, you'll see just a fraction of some of the hilarious takes he did. I mean, the best part is that girl didn't want to show her feet. She was like, "Oh no, my feet are really ugly. We shouldn't do that." And the director had to talk her into doing it. And meanwhile, Brian's just like getting lotion on his hands. And he's like, "All right, I'll rub her." You know.
That's awesome.
Oh, now moving on to the video for "I Want You To." It takes place in Weezerville. Now, what would happen? There's Scott, Rivers, Brian, Pat. What happens to the ex-members? Are they banished from Weezerville?
Well, because Weezerville is like it's like kind of like an alternate dimension that is. Yeah, I guess anybody who's not currently in the band has to be in a different town. It must be like a neighboring town, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, because it's like, like it's like a very tightly controlled concept.
I mean,
so maybe there's like a town nearby that's kind of like like formerly Weezerville, or that kind of thing, and that's why you don't see any of those guys in actual Weezerville.
That would be an awesome county to live in there. I mean, you got like Rentalsville. Be
exactly.
Sweet. All right, let's ask a couple questions. What's that? Man, you're really sick.
Say what?
You're really sick.
Well, I really was. I think by the time I saw you guys at Hammerstein, I felt a lot better than I had felt a few days earlier. But you know how it is. It's like your body just says, "Oh, now it's time to expectorate for 3 days."
Nice.
That sucks. But all right, I have a question about Karlophone. How did you start Karlophone? What inspired you to do it? Did you start making beats or sampling stuff together, and one day you said, "Oh, I can make a CD of this," or how did it happen?
Yeah, it kind of was like that. I mean, I don't know what year it was, but I got a sampler somewhere around like 1998, and I didn't really know what I was doing for a long time. I was just putting together loops and just screwing around and really just making terrible things. But after I did maybe 2 years of just kind of messing around with it and trying to get better and sampling as much stuff as I could, and just finally it came where certain ideas started to form, and they were turning into songs. This could be cool if this part went to that part, and so on and so forth. And eventually, I had enough of those ideas that I thought, wow, I should press up a CD. This is fun. And I guess that took about 3 solid years of just going from totally scrapping together stuff into really trying to assemble an album. And that's where that first one born out of, which I think I pressed up in 2002, if I'm not mistaken.
Damn.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it really just came from screwing around with the sampler for 2 years.
Now, do you play any instruments by any chance, or no?
Well, I poorly play everything a little bit, but I would say I've got almost no proper training in anything. And so there's no way you could put me on stage and say, hey, just play this song, learn this. It would take me forever. I love playing the drums, but I don't practice enough to stay good at it. So I can use rudiments of, just basically get through a basic song on drums and not screw it up too badly. But it's pretty terrible overall. But I have enough knowledge to put together stuff in a studio situation, where you can play something 1,000 times so you get it right, or just kind of bash it together with a computer, So it's just enough knowledge to get sounds I want, but not really be able to play it live or know what I'm doing.
Yeah, okay. Have you ever jammed with Weezer?
Say what?
Have you ever played instruments with Weezer before?
Well, the only thing I did really publicly properly was last year's tour. They had me come up and play keyboards on King, and that was fun. But again, that was a really easy part. That was really hard to screw up. So I think that's why they trusted me with that, because I wouldn't trust myself with anything too complicated, because I eventually would make a mistake or forget what I was doing.
Nice. Now we discussed this with each other on Saturday night, but for the people listening, tell them how many how much vinyl you own exactly, because a lot of people think it's 10,000, but you said that's too low of a number.
Oh my! I don't know who came up with that number on the Wikipedia. Some sort of a random guess by whoever wrote that, but I think they're underestimating it by about 7%. Probably more like 40,000.
Oh my
wow.
God!
40,000?
That's insane.
It's pretty nuts. There's a lot of buying whole carloads of vinyl at once that leads to that kind of insanity.
Back in the 90s, when Rivers was doing his thing with Homie and his what's been called the Rivers Cuomo band, he had a song called Sunshine O. Now, a few of us online have discovered that it could possibly be about a werewolf. And what do you know about this thing with Rivers and werewolves? Is there some sort of correlation between the two?
You're getting into some very abstract territory here. I don't know. I don't remember right now what the lyrics to that this song are at all, so I'm not going to be able to confirm even if it's related to werewolves or not. Rivers and werewolves, I've never really heard of a definite correlation in my head. I mean, I don't know where this comes from. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, this is just, what scholarship has led to this, I'm not sure.
We'll send you the lyrics, and when you see it, just keep in mind it's about a werewolf, and your mind will be blown. That's really all.
I don't know. I mean, this doesn't ring any bells personally, so I don't know where this came from. This could be some massive hoax or something.
Now, is there any chances of a second VCD?
A second DVD?
Yeah, the video capture device, yes.
It's definitely being kicked around as an idea. There's no question that I would say that's likely. I just don't know when that's going to be tackled.
Awesome. Holy crap.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's like so much material that really deserves to be, archived and released. So, I mean, just since the last one, I mean, even if we didn't even delve back into the past again, which I know we're going to because there's a lot more old stuff still. I mean, just since 2004, or whatever it is, 2002, there's like ridiculous amounts of footage already. So,
wow,
nice.
It has to be another one, in my opinion. And I know the band's manager, who's a very creative guy, he definitely agrees with that. So,
awesome.
Hopefully, in the next, who knows, the next year or two or whatever, we'll see.
Oh, that's great. You guys should do it like the Beatles anthology, where there's like 9 DVDs.
Do a 9-disc.
Yeah, because
I agree.
we would totally watch it.
I think there should be one disc that just entirely revolves around Brian and coffee. Just things like that. Just really have like 3 to 4 hour documentaries on like really mundane things that are going on.
Kobo challenge for 2 hours.
I'd watch that.
Oh yeah. I just had like all the time trials. On the bottom of the salt flats with the skateboard.
Yeah.
Now, recently, there's been news about Odds and Ends, Pinkerton Deluxe, and the Greatest Hits CDs. Speculation, can like anytime soon being released or not for a while?
Speculation. Which CD? I couldn't hear that part.
About Odds and Ends, Pinkerton Deluxe, and the Greatest Hits CD.
I would say now that we've finally released Ratitude and so much crap that we were preparing is now finally hitting the world, and we're basically moving ahead into beyond that point. Is I understand that some studio work is going to be done in the next couple of weeks, both on tidying up a couple of old Pinkerton things and also tidying up a couple of, which would be, more like odds and ends type stuff. By tidying up, I don't really know what I mean. I just know that there's sort of this plan to there's a couple things that I guess feel a little bit, unfinished or could use a little bit fixing or something like that. Anyway, the fact that studio time has even been booked for those projects are on the docket, as it were, and should be. I hate to speculate too strongly, but I kind of doubt there's enough time to get these out before Christmas. But I can see that happening within the next, for sure.
Oh, wow. Do you know any of the names of songs that will be on Pinkerton Deluxe?
I do know some of those names.
I mean, are you allowed to say that? We don't want to get you in trouble, so.
Well, here's the thing: is I picked out a track list. I handpicked it. I worked on it very hard, and I don't know if that is what it's going to end up being or not, because there's been this long hiatus since the springtime where there's been time to work on it, and it had to be run by Rivers, it had to be run by the band, it had to be finalized, and that hasn't happened yet. So I'd hate to tell you stuff that I picked out that ends up not being on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
However, there was. I can say at least that, and also I don't want to ruin some surprises, assuming that these things make it to the album, because there's definitely some surprises that nobody's expecting.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things that I did not know existed until we did research. And so if I didn't know it existed, I certainly never talked about it before.
Wow. Maybe we don't want to blow it then.
Yeah, we don't want to blow it, so.
Yeah, I mean, I know you probably saw some of the stuff on the internet. None of that stuff, as far as I know, is untrue. I just don't know if it's going to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, holy crap, dude. That's awesome.
All I hope for odds and end is that Spider Bitch is on it.
What about that?
I want Spider Bitch on odds and ends. Can you make that happen?
Somehow I don't think I can make that happen.
Oh.
That is a very early demo.
Yeah.
As you know, probably by reading, the stuff I wrote for the website a long time ago now. That demo dates, Weezer, and I just have a strong feeling if it ever came out, it would be Rivers decided to put it on one of his own, solo deals.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see it even being associated with Weezer at this point. I mean, that's kind of like how on a DVD, the first DVD, I put that Just to Run Sausages song just to kind of show some, his historical context. I mean, that song dates back that far, or even farther.
Wow.
So, I don't know.
Do you think there will be an Alone 3?
It's a good song, though. I mean, it's cool.
Do you think there's going to be an Alone 3 at some point?
I don't know. I don't personally see why not, unless Rivers just loses interest and doesn't want to do another one.
Yeah.
I don't think I think it's very inexpensive for the label to put those out, so I don't know why they wouldn't, because I think it's just like there's not really a loss for them.
Right.
It's just a matter of does Rivers want to do another one, and I don't know what the answer to that is at this point.
Oh, okay.
Nice. But yesterday, of course, was the release of Ratitude. It's getting, as I can understand, positive reviews and a lot of backlash. And just have you talked to any of the guys? Do they care about reviews at all or no?
Well, I would say any artist, cares about feedback.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's this incredibly bizarre gap between the experience of making an album and then how it gets perceived by the world, and especially after you make about 6 or 7 albums, you can feel one way in the studio, and then 6 months later, when the record actually hits the streets, you get these reactions and go, oh yeah, I guess they have a point there about this or that. But back when we were recording, I never even thought about that. So, in one sense, I think the guys are kind of like, screw reviews, whatever. They're going to say what they're going to say. We made this album, and what are you going to do? And also, you've got individual opinions. I don't even think you don't necessarily even have a united front on everything. You've got a varying opinion. Everything, each individual song, you're going to have 4 different varying opinions on them. But I think in the end, especially now, 2009, it's kind of like, the reviewers are going to say whatever they're going to say, and what are you going to do? It's kind of the attitude at this point. Of course, everybody likes a good review, but I think they knew before this came out that there was going to be some backlash on some of these tracks for sure.
Yeah, there's the track I Hear Bells, which is a bonus track on the album. We know it was written during the Green Album era, but is this actual track that was released recorded then, or was it recorded newly with Scott?
I believe that was recorded back then. I think that's the late 2000 demo.
Oh, wow.
I'm almost positive, because I don't think they ever went. As far as I know, that might be a studio back that far, but I don't recall them actually working on that way back when in the studio beyond, the home demo level.
Yeah.
I guess the band as it was at that time, but I don't think that's a multi-track, whenever they recorded Hash Play, they didn't record that the next day, you know what I mean? I don't remember that being worked on at that time.
Right, okay. WSN Radio.
And it's not recording either.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
WSN Radio, 1590 AM. This is The Power Show. We are on the phone with Karl of Weezer.com, interviewing him, giving him questions.
Just lots of questions to go over too. So much to ask, and
So much to do. So much place. So many places to be.
Now we got one question from Kid Idiot Tech. He posts on all things Weezer. He was wondering if you've ever ranked the albums and if you've done it recently.
I've ever ranked them?
Yeah.
I guess I've done it when people do. It's kind of hard, though. I mean, like, they might find it surprising, but I don't really sit down and listen to Weezer albums. So all I have to go on is kind of like my impressions and my sentimentality about it, as opposed to like really like hardcore going, okay, this has this song versus that song. This, I like this one 10% more than I like that one. I have a really big soft spot for obviously the older stuff because nostalgically it dates back to an earlier time in my life, and I can relate it to that. But I also find that album has its own funny place. Like even albums that like, okay, I don't like this song, that song, I'm not that into this, that. It's still like the release of the album relates to a certain time period, which relates to certain touring, which relates to certain cities, which relates to certain experiences. And so to me, they're more like sort of like these sort of chapters that I look back on eras, and it's like, okay, there may be some make-believe songs that I don't care much for anymore, or there may be a Green Album song that like bores me a little bit now. But the album itself, like I have, it has a stronger meaning to me that kind of goes beyond what's on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
So it's hard for me personally to say, oh yeah, this one's better than that one, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
There's strong and weak points on each of let's say the last 4 albums, but they still have a place in my heart because of what I remember about when they were making them and when we were touring and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly right. A question about a song that was never released. During Make Believe, the guys did a cover of "Unbreak My Heart." Have you heard that?
Yes.
Is it good?
Yes, it is.
Because
really
since I read about that in AP Magazine in 2005, I've been wanting to hear it forever. So maybe someday they'll put it out.
Oh, it was the last part of the question.
Maybe someday they'll release it. You think maybe it's on Odds and Ends or
send it to us? Wink, wink.
I think Odds and Ends would be a perfect place to release that. Personally, I would say it has no better or worse chance than like the other unreleased tracks that should be released, in my opinion. And I know it's been on lists of songs that could be released in terms of like, well, we have this, it's just never been, it just hasn't happened yet. So if it's on Odds and Ends, I'd be surprised because it seems like a good candidate for it personally.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Someday I'd love to hear it.
No, yeah, Karl, you.
It is really good. I mean, it's huge. It sounds huge. It's great.
Could you send it to us?
No, I can't do that.
Only kidding.
No, but Karl, really, since that song, he read about it in high school. He's been annoying me about it for 4 years now.
Well, I want to ease your pain. I do.
Karl wants to ease the pain.
The pain.
I want to ease your pain on that, but right now I can't do that.
It's all right.
But Kramer fan 86, asked this about Ratitude. He said, "Does the album to you does it feel like a Frankenstein monster? Because there's a lot of stuff going on, Ratitude."
On the one hand, it feels. It's hard to. I would say it's difficult to make albums that feel cohesive, that kind of go all over the map like that. But on the other hand, I feel like each album this band has made reflects the times and the circumstances they were made under. And the times and the circumstances of Ratitude was very much this wasn't a, hey, let's get in the studio for 1 month and when we're done we're going to have an album. It was much more a, how would I put it, it was a whole bunch of short phases, and every one of them different ideas being expressed in different, and a lot of it you have to chalk up to Rivers following his muse and following his whims and following his desires, and even over the course of, say, 9 months or whatever it was total that it was made, you had a lot of different ideas happening, like the stuff that was laid down last fall was nothing like what was being laid down this summer. It was just like, time moved on and ideas moved on and thoughts moved on, and it wasn't like, hey, let's continue making this album. It was more like, hey, I want to go back in the studio and I have this idea for a song, or I want to change this song because I like this new idea. And in the end, what you get for that is this highly varied results. And you can only hope that it feels like an album in the end, because clearly you've got 9 months worth of different ideas kind of being poured into the same receptacle. I don't know exactly how I feel about it, because it's funny, I haven't actually sat down and listened to this album from beginning to end yet. I don't really know what it's like.
That's awesome.
If you wanted to ask me, Karl, do you have the CD? I'd say no, I don't actually have the CD yet. I will have it very soon, sure, but I don't have it right now.
Yeah. WSN Radio, 1590 AM. We're on the phone with Karl Koch of Weezer.com. Have you ever met Sarah Bareilles or Lil Wayne?
Have I ever met her prior to the shows they did, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I didn't even know who she was, to be honest.
That's awesome.
Terrible. Like, she had a hit? What? Who? Where?
Well, it's like, we didn't know who Leighton Meester was when she came on stage. We were like, oh, okay.
Did I know who she was either?
Yeah, we didn't know who she was. So.
Vaguely, and I did not know. I had no idea she was in Gossip Girl until after the fact. I've never watched Gossip Girl. I don't even know these shows. I'm terrible like that.
I mean, they're targeted for 14-year-old girls, so it's okay.
I actually had to go and Wikipedia these people to figure out more about them after that was just working with them. And I was like, oh, okay, who's this? Who did he find today?
Question about the song "Tired of Sex." The line before the solo comes in.
There's a debate going on.
A couple of kids online are saying the line goes, "What's a guy to do?" But then a lot of us also think the line is, "What should I do?" Do you know what the line is?
That is a Brian creation that happened in the studio and was kept, and he did say, "What's a guy to do?" which I think is really funny. It's just such a plaintive cry of truth and justice. Like, what's a guy to do, man?
Wow.
But yeah, Brian kind of busted that out while they were recording it, and it got kept because everybody liked it.
Oh, that's Brian on the record?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, wow. Jeez, I've been singing it wrong all these years. Okay.
Same here, yeah. I said it wrong on Saturday night. I'm very disappointed in myself now, but what are you gonna do? But trying to look. Oh, okay, yes. This question. Now, recently, Rivers in an interview said he'd like to make some country songs. Now, as a hardcore Weezer fan, for the the bootlegs from 1997 to 98, he introduced those songs as his country song. Is that just me thinking, oh, he's gonna revisit that old material, or does Rivers want to work with Tim McGraw or whatever?
I think it's the latter, guys, and the reason is because I think you guys have learned by now. Don't underestimate the power of how far Rivers will take an idea. I mean, he got Lil Wayne on our album, so there's no longer anything that you can assume that it is or is not going to happen. So I really strongly doubt he's thinking, yeah, I want to revisit my kind of quaint alt country kind of vibe. He's probably thinking. I think he was actually. I remember him actually saying, "Yeah, they're interested, but they actually want me to go. I have to go down to Nashville to do it."
That's awesome.
So he was talking with people that said, "Yeah, man, but come on down to Nashville and we'll do." So I have a feeling that means more Tim McGraw than what you were saying before.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Damn.
Do not Rivers in the power in his power to make.
The song "Let It All Hang Out."
Yeah.
a lot of people are wondering, was that written in 1999? And if so, how did Jermaine Dupri approach it? Did he know about the song, or did he change lyrics to it, or what happened with that song?
1999.
That's where the rumors is.
You mean it's from then, you mean?
Yeah, people think it might be from 1999.
Why do they think that?
I don't know. It was one of the fans' questions.
Yeah, I don't believe that's... Geez, I mean, it may have my facts wrong, but I thought that was not an old song that was being revisited. I thought that was a more recent writing creation.
Huh.
Pardon me. Yeah, I don't...
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's...
I don't know if there's anything old about that one at all. I'd have to do a little poke to make sure I'm not talking out my ass, but I think... I don't know anything about 1999 with that.
Oh, okay.
Take some Advil, cold and sinus. That always eases my pain, Karl. No, but...
Yeah.
But one thing I was just shocked with on Can't Stop Partying was how much I enjoyed Lil Wayne's verse. Like, I'm not a big fan of his, like, by himself, but I thought he just was amazing on the verse. Like, were there any other rappers thrown around before his name, or were the guys like, no, we want Lil Wayne?
I did not hear about any other rappers, and I agree he did a good job, and it's bizarre to anybody who's been along time to think Lil Wayne being on a Weezer record. It's kind of like the ultimate, like, boundary breaker, and I can see some people that I can't handle this. But I agree with you that he, like him or hate him, he's quite a talent. I mean, I understand why Rivers wanted him specifically. I think. I don't know who else might have been in the running because Rivers never mentioned anybody else, but nobody else was close enough to get mentioned. In other words, like, you know, just might have been thinking about some other people, but only mentioned Lil Wayne, and he ended up getting Lil Wayne. So that's all I know about that much. But yeah, no, I mean, I mean, I've heard some really... Lil Wayne has impressed me on a lot of tracks. I mean, some people just can't deal with rap, but, like, I've always been into it in my own way. So I don't like the huge pop stuff in rap where it gets way too commercial, but Lil Wayne's got a whole range of stuff that isn't, in my opinion, commercial. It's just like his own weird take on stuff.
Nice.
It also got some very commercial, too. I mean, that's another story.
Yeah, totally. Are all the band members happy with the release of Ratitude? Do they all like every song on it? Or are there some songs some of the guys are kind of okay with?
I think you've got some... I think you got some varied opinions on that. I think the other guys are very open-minded about stuff in terms of, like, you know, they'll go into any song that Rivers hands them with the right attitude and work on it as hard as they can, and, you know, cross their fingers and hope for the best. I think where you've got varying opinion as far as what comes down to, like, what the track list is and what gets picked and stuff like that, because I know that there was some dissent on, you know, some of the tracks that either didn't make the album or didn't make the main album, were some of the ones that some of the other guys really enjoyed. So there was some, you know, difference of opinion as far as, like, what was considered. But I don't think there was any sentiment of, like, oh, you know, I just don't like this song. I think there's stuff that, like, it comes down to, like, how it's produced and, you know, how it's handled in the studio. So you've got people, you might have some opinions like, oh man, you know, I liked, you know, the drum track sounded better when we did this or that. But I don't think you'll hear, I've never heard anybody say, like, well, that should just be, or, like, it's how we do it. You know what I mean? Like, how it's tackled.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nice. Now, on The Prettiest Girl in the Whole Wide World, who introduces the song in the beginning?
Oh, there's the Jack assistant engineer guy.
Oh.
His name, I think, is Sam. I can't remember, but he's the guy who always worked with Jackknife. He came with him as a package. He's kind of like his tape operator, even though there's no tape anymore. they're both English. They're both from England or Ireland actually, and he's like his buddy basically, and he's a good guy. And for some reason, there's this thought of we need Sam's voice. I think it's Sam. I checked the credits. I can't remember. I feel bad that I don't remember his name right now. But he's a really cool guy. He's a really nice guy. And there was just some idea that, like, in the studio, have him introduce it, Because he has this, like, funny, like, kind of straight English voice, so.
Now, did that song come back into the running because it was on Alone too, or did the guys go, hey, remember that song we played a million years ago? Or how did that song come back?
It's a little bit of both, I think. I know that Pat Wilson has always gone for that song. I think every time there's been talk about what songs to try for an album, he's always kind of throwing it in a run. It's never made it for some reason, time and time again.
That's awesome.
But Rivers put it on Alone too, I think got Rivers' interest back in it, because I think for years Rivers considered it one of his songs that was mission flawed, and he didn't want to really focus on it, and he wanted to, he's always looking ahead, he never wants to look back, that kind of thing. But of course, the Alone projects were all about looking back, and that kind of reminded him about how cool some of those old songs were. So once I think he's done that, I feel, he was then open to working on whatever too. And so when the list of songs for Ratitude was kind of compiled, it always comes down to like, making up a bunch of new ones, a bunch of old ones. And, initially, the Jackknife Flea with the original producer, Jackknife was open to anything. He was like, throw anything at me and I'll listen to it and see if we should try it. And, so Rivers said, well, I put this on Alone too. I kind of like it. And, Pat Wilson was saying, well, let's record that. I've been wanting to record that for years. And, Brian always liked it. Scott didn't even know it because he hated him. And he was like, oh, yeah, I like that song too. and so it got down to the short, and it got onto the list of like, yeah, we're doing this. This is going on the record. And I, of course, personally, I was very happy because I've always liked that original version, and I always wanted it to be on an album.
Nice. Now, were there any other old songs that were like, in the running, or just that one?
Pardon me. The answer is yes, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to remember which ones they were. It's funny, I was just revisiting these moments because I was putting together a Making of Ratitude video piece that's for the iTunes Pass thing.
Awesome.
Ooh.
And so I was actually watching a lot of this old footage, but it's kind of hard to remember. Like, there's actually pictures of, like, short lists of, like, 30 songs, and I don't remember. I can see the picture in my head, but I can't see the name. There are some older ones like that. There was some, like, pretty much nothing was off limits as far as being considered, but only, Priest Girl, and I don't remember what else, got farther than the initial stages. I mean, obviously, Love Is the Answer being pulled back out of the fire. I mean, that had been kind of put away in 2004 before Make Believe came out, and then that got, totally back into the running, and then we ended up turning it into, like, the Hindu version.
Right. WSN Radio. WSN Radio, 1590 AM. This is the Power Show. We're on the phone with Karl. Another question about songs that the guys have been revisiting. Do you think that this is going to be a trend for their albums to come? They're going to look back at their old catalog of stuff they've never released, or what do you think will happen with that?
I feel like it's been kind of happening for the last couple of albums, and then also with Rivers doing all that alone work. It kind of like really like kind of. It's sort of like if there's like a snow globe full of Weezer songs, old and new, and all the snow is like on the bottom. Like it feels like the snow globe's been shaken up, and a lot of stuff's back up into the air, kind of like that. But at the same time, Rivers always his first love is always what he just wrote today. Whatever he just came off his, out of his head. He's always like, fascinated by what's brand new in his head. So it's really a matter of, what he being compared with what's kind of floating around, and is what's around worthy of a new album, or is it kind of considered, like, as we were talking about, kind of odds and ends possibly. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the trend now. It's like old stuff's not being thrown in the crapper anymore. It's more like, yeah, we might need that. We might want to use that. We'll see,
Awesome.
Nice. I like that. Now, a lot of people, they've been wondering, with the iTunes Pass and stuff, why the Cold Dark World, the Rivers vocal was released, and not The King with the Rivers?
You know, when I saw that on the list, I was actually personally surprised. I was like, oh, I didn't even know we had one of those. There was, I guess there's been a lot of scouring of hard drives, and I don't know how that came out of nowhere. And in the meantime, you know, I don't know if there is a studio version of King. I mean, obviously the demo that Rivers did that I've heard that I like, but I don't know if I've ever heard a studio version, you know, that's like a final version except with Rivers instead of Scott. I'm not sure I've heard that, so I'm not 100% sure there is one.
Was this version of Cold Dark World recorded last year, or was this a newly recorded version with Rivers doing the vocal?
I think this vocal, that's another thing I'm not 100% sure on, because I don't ever remember, although I do think he originally sang it, so perhaps what they did is they just pulled up an old mix of it, you know, from Red Album sessions.
Now, how does like, you know, over the years, Rivers' perception of fans have changed? You know, he referred to us as little bitches, and now it seems that he loves everyone. Do you know how that came about? Was it the Hootenannies from last year?
Oh, I'm sure that somewhat. He always refers to it as an inspiration for, you know, trying to do stuff. People have inspiration these dimensions now. At the same time, I think you kind of 2003 and a post-2003 Rivers, in my opinion, a little bit, and it does have to do with his you know, experiences with recruitment and meditating. And it's like, you know, one can change patience with others, their, you know, and stuff. And I think, you know, he definitely made an attempt, and I think he's been sticking with it pretty well, of sort of tossing out negativity, you know?
Yeah.
Like trying not to be antagonistic. I mean, yeah, he definitely likes being the man in charge. He definitely likes, you know, doing things his way, but I don't think he knew how to express himself in the public in a way that was tactful prior to, I think, roughly 2003. I think since then he's done a lot of work on that.
Okay.
Nice.
Back to Karlophone. Are there any plans for a new Karlophone album in the future?
Thank you for asking. Yes, I actually intended on having one finished this year, and this year's been so freaking busy with 1,000 different things, including lots and lots of Weezer stuff, that I've only got the rudiments of just some stuff started right now. So my intention is this winter, because there's going to be a couple months off early next year, I'm just going to jam on it as hard as I can and see how far I get. And I'm gonna release whatever I come up with as soon as I can. I just obviously have to finish it first.
How long does it usually take? A couple months to do?
Well, probably if you did it all in a row and you didn't have anything else distracting me, yeah, it would probably take a couple months. My problem is I've always been fitting it in between everything else I've been doing with, you know, Weezer and everything else. And so it's always like, it feels like it takes years, but really it's probably only a couple months of work.
Now, have you ever considered touring? And if you did, how would that happen?
It's crossed my mind. The reason it hasn't happened is because it would take basically figuring out how to do it, and that would require like rehearsing and hiring some people and figuring all that stuff out. And I just didn't see any feasible way to make that happen. But it's not that I haven't considered it. I can't see it as a one-man show, because that would require a ton of like digital triggering and, you know, like doing a lot of stuff, laptop type based stuff. And that's okay, but I just don't see how that's a show to me. Like, it's like, okay, I sit at the laptop and I've got a bunch of buttons and I've got some keyboards and this and that. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I could pull that off. I'm not saying I doubt my ability. It's more like, is that what I want to present? Is that what it is? Like, I'd almost have more fun just doing more like a set where I'm, you know, I'm actually going through old records and stuff like that, and occasionally, you know, referencing the stuff I've used in my records, I mean, in my own stuff, as opposed to saying I'm going to try to recreate what you hear on my album live. you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like the only proper way to do that would be actually to hire, have a drummer, actually make cool new versions of the stuff as opposed to just trying to recreate what you hear on an album. And that would require months of rehearsal and a lot of time. So I guess that's why that's never happened. But I could definitely see myself, doing kind of like more like a DJ kind of gig. Really like, hey, here's Karlophone playing Karlophone. It's more like I'll get it and put together like a show out of a bunch of records and stuff, just to see what happens. More experimental.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
I think you should do that. Go do it.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun to watch because a lot of people like Girl Talk. He does that thing where he's just pressing buttons on a computer. But I think if you had a whole band behind you doing stuff, that would rule.
It would be. I mean, like I said, it's a very ambitious vision, but I almost thought like I don't see any other way to properly do it. Like it would be really neat to actually have some live stuff mixed with samples. I mean, that's kind of how it kind of is on the record, and I wouldn't want to just sit there and press buttons. Like, okay, now I'm triggering track 4, and I'm triggering the, you know what I mean? Like it just that's not interesting to me. You know what I mean? Like when I do something, I want it to be a unique experience that you could only get if you went to the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Like I said before, if I was down anywhere and I saw performing tonight Karlophone, I'd be like, oh crap, I gotta go to this.
Well, and I would have to rehearse it well because I wouldn't want to disappoint.
You could have like a laser light show in the background.
A laser. We'd have to have a frickin' laser.
That would rule.
It would be like laser sharks.
I say go for it, man.
Yeah. Well, we only have a couple more questions because we got to wrap up the show in a little bit. But
Right on.
what do you think Scott's favorite candy bar size is?
Favorite candy bar size?
Yeah.
Well, obviously it's king size.
Yeah.
Yes.
How could it be anything else?
I know, seriously.
That's great.
Well, Karl, thank you so much for coming on the show and having us interview you and all kinds of questions, man.
My pleasure, man. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Thank you, Karl. Karl Koch, everybody.
Yeah. Take care, Karl, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Shoot me an email, guys.
All right, totally, man.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye, thanks.
Yeah.
Gecaj and Giggens Power Show, WSIN 1590 AM. That was our interview with Karl Koch. It finally happened. Yay!
Yay!
We did it! Sweet! That was awesome. So much information we learned today on Karlophone and Weezer together. That was awesome. That was a lot of fun.
That was.
We got down to the nitty gritty and a couple questions there.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no idea about Brian. That's what he yelled in the song was, "What's a guy to do?"
I didn't realize, that there's stuff he doesn't even know about.
I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Let's play a Karlophone song.
Yeah. I was shocked by that.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Thanks again for calling in, Karl, if you're listening right now. WSN Radio 1590.
Gecaj and Giggens Power Show.